Good morning, guys. Hopefully you're all well. It looks like I have a mediocre connection at best yet again today. So now that the home gym and office is squared away, that'll be the next priority going into this weekend. So yeah, the thumbnail on this was put out before the volatility hit. I was hoping that maybe we could front run it, but obviously Jerome Powell did not. I don't know exactly what he said, but I kind of got a synopsis of it. It looks like, he said what we've all been talking about. Just kind of confirmed it that they're probably going to have to raise the target rate for interest rates, which is, was to be expected, in my opinion. I don't think that anyone is surprised to hear that by any means, or at least I'm not. It's something that we've discussed both on our channel and I've discussed on other channels as well that have hosted me. So, that's not really bullish for markets. We're going to talk about that and see what's going on. Man, Bybit, is anyone else having Bybit issues? Like, not like it's down, but it's just laggy, very laggy right now, at least on the online portion. Because like Max, I did scalp along and it has front run my take profit by literally like $10. So looking to make sure that gets hit. If not the end of the world, but would prefer that it gets hit so that
you're hit, I'm hit.
There we go. There we go. All right, that's a good day. 6% on the day, guys. Everybody celebrate good times. And
Magic is leveraged up to the nines. Do not copy.
Huh?
You're leveraged up to the nines, telling everyone, do not copy.
I am not leveraged to the nines, but yeah, I am leveraged to like 20x on this move. But you guys also have to remember these are very, very planned position sizes. So it is one of those where like risk is still accounted for, like, which is the most important part. So let's get into the charts. Looks like we're coming into the important area I wanted to talk about, the previous day low with the VWAP here. If we're going to see any kind of a further move to the upside, this is the level that needs to get claimed. So if we come above the level, we want to see it holding as support, finding our way back into that previous day, into the week, and then we can start targeting a range rotation, right? This is just your developing week. And that's how I would look at that for right now. But so that's why this was a take profit area for me coming into resistance. I've left a little bit of the trade to run, but not much, as I just didn't see the point because it's a day trade, right? We're only operating off the pretense of day trade. And we still have some levels below us that we're working off of that we are expecting to see. So one, the previous week low that came down last week at 21,842. Great area of inflection to work off of. For me anyway, at least that's how I see it. I do need to take a look at the DXY. Look at that, just ripping. We were talking about this one potentially coming down into support and did not. It heard the news from JPOW today and woke up. I'm sure there were lots of people looking at this borderline as a future descending triangle. So we'll see what happens on the DXY where they're probably trading it like this and they were expecting it to consolidate and then break down. Like I said, patterns really aren't that reliable in my opinion. So even if this does come back into the pattern here on a wick basis, you're just trading this as a consolidation. That's it. And when the consolidation breaks, which oftentimes these can break to the upside, this is a 4-hour pattern as well. It's not exactly high time frame. If it breaks to the upside, you're looking to target 105,788 over time, in my opinion, or at least this local high. That's the area that I'm most interested in. And if you were to come back to it on the DXY, why I've been saying, we've covered this before, that I think that there is further upside for this one. This is your 2021 high right here, or 2023 high. Damn, we are way off on the year. I don't know what that was about, but 2023 high at 105,631 going into that 6-month level we've been on about. Go out to the 6-month just real quick. So you can see this is the zone that you would be most interested in right here, this little box. Be the current local yearly high and the 6-month SFP that has really dictated price. As long as you're living above this box, price can certainly push. Keep that in mind. And that does not bode well for risk on assets, right? So you see where you are getting that acceptance. So now everyone that was probably late to this move, I actually haven't checked the order flow, so Max will go over that, is now getting punished, and the weekly open is being retested, which yeah, I would say is a fairly important level for us, at least today. You can see it was very important. You got the rejections off of there. So we'll see if this can actually live inside this range and hold this 22,248 level as support, or if this is just going to be basically taking this local high and stopping everyone out, right? So SPX as well came off the gold pocket. You've come up to the 12M1 here. And again, you've got this minor gap on the daily. You'll see right here that you left when you gapped down. And so lots of people were probably looking for the gap fill and did not get to be satisfied on that, right? So see how it trapped people looking for that gap fill right here. So a lot of times you got to front run these targets. There are times to shoot for gap fills and times not to. A lot of it is contextual, which is a really terrible answer in my opinion. But over time you get that. So this certainly doesn't have to be the end of this move up, but nothing goes up in a straight line. And with the news that came out today, you're better off being patient, waiting for these lower prices, especially on Bitcoin here. Looking at this area down here, I do think that we hit this area over time, 21,779 being that important level. Also, just having these targets down below us still, the previous month pivot being untapped, the 60-day pivot that just generated that is now untapped at 21,659. So targets to the downside are certainly still there. They don't have to hit, but they do statistically fill out more often than not. So today it was more of you just had to be watching the order flow. I watched the 5 mil volume chart, and that's how I found my entry. So people are always asking, how do you find your entries? This one right here was kind of difficult. You would have gotten stopped out if you had taken every entry for me, right? So you can see that you've got all the things you need to see criteria-wise to take entries here. You don't have a delta switch on this one. And on this one, you don't really have a good delta switch either until close to the highs, which not a great sign, as you see this. But you can see that the delta switch up is there. Open interest is increasing somewhat on this one. However, as you get this washout here and it takes those final buyers, you can see that now you've got almost no red here. You've got strong buying imbalances coming in, right? Good delta switch up. You would have gotten in on this candle specifically, right? You can see you've got stacked buying imbalances all the way through. And now you've got increase in open interest. So you're looking to run this up, right? And you can see that the move has been strong since. So that is how you would have found your entry, and you're just targeting the daily val, then the point of control of the current day, and maybe, just maybe, the move up to the daily value area high and weekly value area highs. They're pretty close to each other right now, but really kind of depends on how you want to do the day trade. And that's all this is a day trade. So for me, it was get in, get out, and that's it. So I don't have much else to add on this. One thing I want to highlight is we're looking for like a slogan for the channel. And one of the things I think we're going to start doing is, this is the place you come for no gatekeeping, because we do really just let it all out here. So we don't gatekeep order flow information. We don't gatekeep too much stuff. Now, do we have an area that you can go and pay to actually have, one-on-one access with us in classrooms and live streams with the group? Yes. And videos and tutorials that are very in-depth on all these tools, because you're not going to learn them in a session with us here on the live. And if you get something out of it, that's great. That's what we're trying to do, is show you guys this is how you should be trading, in our opinion, how we trade the market, and go from there. So I've got nothing else to add. I'm gonna turn it over to Maxwell. This is a fairly quick and brief overview. The news that came out, personally, I'm not surprised to see the news, because we all kind of anticipated it after the inflation numbers. And if you follow the Fed chair board, they've all been saying the same thing, that they would expect to potentially be raising rates higher than the targeted rate, which is 5 to 5.25. It may be going to 6. And one thing I do want to note is that there's a really good discussion going on in the members area and the traditional markets chat between Twin and Rightway and a few other guys. And I think Don't Go Chasing Alts, Dylan is in there. They're talking about a little bit in the bonds, but they're talking about rates versus, the market generally doesn't bottom until after the last rate hike is done, which we've talked about. But they're also going into the idea of, what the rate of inflation is and where the terminal rate ends up. Historically, they do end up having to pass each other. So at some point, the terminal rate will have to be higher than the inflation rate, not the peak, but there is a correlation there they're kind of talking about and sharing charts on, which I found very interesting. So if you're in the group, definitely go check that out. There's some guys in there that know more about this than I do, especially because they spend more time on this macro stuff. So it's a good place to go learn some new information if you're into that type of thing. Max, I'll stop droning on and let you get into the order flow.
All good. So I was going to start here, but I'll come back to it because, we were here yesterday when we were streaming, but I just want to look at what's currently going on in, literally right now. And I need to go to the 1 mil volume chart because as you can see here, we're getting a huge increase in open interest. Price is dropping, and yet delta's pretty neutral, more to the negative side, but overall pretty neutral. And what we can see on the 1 mil volume chart, this is effectively like going to the 1 minute, 30-second footprint chart. We're on the 1 mil volume chart here, and you can see the weak equilibrium, the current weak equilibrium. We've had a ton of shorts enter below that. So if we can get above there, it's pretty bullish. But above here is where all the longs are trapped. So, you're playing either side of this right now. Below here, you've got longs trapped. Above here, you've got shorts trapped. So, whichever way this move decides to go, if it can get above and live here, you're going to be targeting this high and ultimately, the weekly open, taking the high. If it can't get above here and makes another failed attempt, you're probably looking to, I need to pull the golden pocket and zoom right in. Probably looking down to at least the golden pocket, and if loss of that, you're losing level and most likely tapping the naked point of control or the level that Magic mentioned, which is the naked point of control. So right now, looking at the order flow, it does want to really push here, because if it can, you've got them trapped shorts. Now, this is where I somewhat differentiated how I took my trade from where Magic took his. So I took mine, where they're here. So we're at this low, and what's my favorite thing to trade in order flow? It's trap traders. And you can see right at the bottom, you've got your delta switch up. Okay, great. That is one signal to enter on the 1 mil volume chart. You've got a good delta switch up. You can see it's buying coming in. But then what occurred here? He had a load of shorts try and pile in and push the price down. They were immediately, in the next minute, forced pretty much underwater. It came down, made one more attempt, failed, and then you got more buying, coming in, and that was ultimately your entry trigger when you've effectively solidified that they are locked in and trapped. And that was for me my entry for that long. And came up and tapped the, where was it? I've not got it on this chart, but it was the current day val, which is pretty neat. And then we'll see how that one goes. But it's effectively done now. It's not going to be a loser. But let me go back to this. I'll go back to this one, and we'll talk about why this wasn't the trade to take. So you've had the move down, a lot of selling at the low. Yes, there was certainly some positions changing hands, but what do you not have in this whole candle here? You don't have a single buying imbalance, and that is one of the key entry triggers for everyone trading the footprint charts. Buying imbalance, stacked buying imbalances. These are the key things you have to look for. If there isn't them, you really have to. I personally would always lower my position size if I'm not getting the exact entry triggers that I want. Even if I want to take a trade, if I really want to take a trade from there, and it's like I've been waiting for this for so long. If I don't get what I want to see, I will reduce my position size on said trade. And this one, you don't get any buying imbalances. So you've got no entry triggers on the footprint chart. You get up here, still no buying imbalances. There was no buying taking place in these two candles. It was just effectively, some shorts closing out. There was no buying taking place. And then when you get the buying, they do absolutely fuck all. They don't go anywhere. And it's like, this is bearish. This is not what you want to see. You've just had an SFP of there was a low. I can't remember which one it was. I have to go back to this chart. There was a low that it SFP'd. I think it was it was this one back here. I'm not sure if it was previous day or not. I don't believe it was. It might have been actually. Yeah, it SFP'd a level anyway, but it just wasn't what you want to see. You didn't get any entry triggers, and then when you did, they just did an absolute awful job of moving the market. So ultimately, looking at that, you could pretty much expect the price is going to go down and take the low again, in which it did. And look, you're now above the week, this current week equilibrium. You've now trapped all them shorts that are stuck there. You're getting buyers come back in, clearly pushing the price. You're looking at this to come and test the weekly open here right now. So, this is pretty good. The fact that it's trapping all these shorts, pushing up. You don't want it to be doing this where it starts trapping the longs, because you get that. So when it's doing the opposing side, you can ultimately be looking for the high move up. no, a move higher. Pardon me. But yeah, the level that I mentioned yesterday for me still remains key. It's 22,500. You can see we have failed every attempt of getting above here. And yesterday we said on stream, if you make a lower high, it's really not going to look good. You made a lower high, and then what occurred? You started to live below there, made another lower high. How many signals do you want? You've made a lower high, you've come down, you've made another lower high. You're back in underneath what has been key resistance for the past 2-3 days, 3-4 days, sorry, at this time. And then down you go. And where do you come back up to overnight? Or early in the morning, the key region. And what do? You completely fail to hold anything. And ultimately that's still right now, that is the level to get above. And if you can get above, hold it and not make any lower high as soon as you do it, which we fail to do every single time. Okay, it's going to be you're looking up to the targets, whichever you have above you. But yeah, right now this is looking pretty good. You're getting the buyers, as long as you're not starting to trap these buyers, and you've got the VWAP there now. So as long as you're not going to, so it makes it easier for me to give you a specific level. As long as you're not going below the VWAP and starting to trap the buyers that are coming in these regions, this is ultimately bullish. But as soon as you do that, as soon as you drop and you start to, you'd be looking at the day val. Once you're below the day val, really it's not looking too good. Because you come into that golden pocket, you'd be putting pressure there, and I don't know how confident I would be in buying that golden pocket. So, with all the specific levels you've got below you, it just looks pretty likely that you'd break through the golden pocket and ultimately go and take out all of the longs that built up, because there has been many at this point. There's been many longs, and ultimately go to the targets which you have below. But yeah, I don't think I've got anything else. There's no single prints, huge buying tail. Where is that coming at? 22174. Is that in line? No, it's actually not. So we've got a huge buying tail right now, which is pretty neat to see. So it kind of gives you more of another region to look for. If lost, is not going to look good, because you want to see these buying tails held as support. As soon as they start to get broken and chopped into, it's never a good look. And you can see here, this buying tail that we had on March the 5th, which was Sunday, it held the price action up yesterday. There may have been other things, of course, but looking at the TPO chart, it was pretty well held. So you want to see this buying tail hold. And what's occurring?
I'm looking for the previous day high, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
As long as you're above the weekly open, that is. If you're above the weekly open and that gets claimed, I think that you can start looking for that previous day high at 22,590. That'd be the area of interest. I think you have a session high that comes in before then. At is that Asia?
What I will say is, though we made the talking of these targets higher now, this is not the time to buy. You've effectively
that move is past. Now you're looking for the next area to get a trade. And if the weekly open, which it's getting a little bit of a rejection at now, gets claimed, though, the Asia high comes in at 22,557 and the previous day high is 22,590. Those would be the two local highs I would have on my radar, or at least alerts set for. Otherwise, you're in no man's land for right now.
About the footprint chart is that you get these liquidation bubbles, and if you really want simplicity, only buy when you're getting the green ones, or you have to have your entry triggers, you have to have a specific trade setup. But overall, if you're looking at it, if you're buying in these regions where you're getting liquidations, great. If you're shorting in these regions where you're getting these short liquidations, you'll do all right over time. But you have to have specific trade setups, and these things have to occur. It just kind of gives you regions. So if you're thinking about buying here and you can see that there's short liquidations going on, probably not the best bet, because after they've taken the short liquidations, who are they going to come for? The long liquidations. So it is a balance. And these red and green dots make it really easy. And they don't go away. That's what I'll say. But yeah, right now what you've had is you've taken out all the shorts. You had a huge amount of we'll go to the 1 minute chart so we can see it. you had a huge drop off in open interest as you wiped out all those shorts that had entered down here, wiped them all out. And then what have you got now? You've now got buyers now selling, which is bringing the price down. So you need to see buyers, come back into the market and make another attempt to hold up price and ultimately push it higher. But if they are just going to continue selling, well, it brings some more bearish signs. So what you're looking for here, you want green to start coming in. It seems like you're getting some stagnation here, which is always, it can lead to people then start to step in and buy. But you want to see some buying now take place, some green come back in, and if you get some high percentages and it is on increasing open interest, it can give you that another layer of support here. But look, it seems like the selling is just going to continue. So yeah, you can't buy here. You have to wait for some bigger player to step in, start buying, and then ultimately push the price. I don't really have anything else to say, Magic. We have got some green PVAs, which is interesting. They come down to that golden pocket. But yeah, I'm done other than that. And I think you're muted, my man. I can see your mouth moving.
I was literally talking about I was actually talking about the PVAs, and it spotted them too. And I was like, we half filled a PVA on that move up, and it's right where the gold pocket is. So yeah, on the 5 anyway. So yeah, not much else to add in terms of alts. Still waiting on my boxes. Someone had asked about altcoins, what we're doing. Waiting for targets, man. It's no different than Bitcoin. If you don't get what you want, you don't trade it. Kind of like what Max was just saying. So if you take that approach, you'll be fine. Otherwise, you're just FOMOing into positions with no real plan because you're already changing your plan and criteria for the trade. So, for things like LRC, I'm looking for 30.86 cents at a minimum, and it's come down to 31.42. We're very close. So I'd like to see that box hit. I have confidence it will be hit. So I'm waiting. Same with like Matic. What am I waiting for on Matic? $1.05. Now I've paid myself twice on this trade already. Be a third take profit at the B leg. And then I will leave some to run just in case. But if it came up and stopped me out, it wouldn't bother me. So for Matic, still waiting on 105.45, I think is the exact level. And same with all these other alts we've been covering. So that is it. I haven't looked at H bar in a while. I know I'm not sharing my screen. Would you look at that? Crushed. So if OC is in the chat or watches this back, he can drop a comment. But he was asking about H bar when it was up near about 9 cents, and I was like, yeah, man, this is a place you have to sell. So you now have it's sitting down at 6.28 cents, coming into ideally our zone between like 5.97 down to 5.5 cents over time, maybe even a little bit lower. So that's it. Yeah, I'm going to hop off here. I think altcoins are going to get moved to static videos just because those seem to do better. That way you guys can go back and watch the 5 to 7 minute overview rather than having to sort through an hour-long live stream. So I am going to hop off here. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave a comment down below. Leadingcrypto.io is also our website. You can go there, find any information about the Discord, or you can scan that QR code up in the corner, and that'll take you right there. So, all right, guys, we will catch you in the next one. Unless, Max, do you have anything to add before we go?